Hi, it's Ramesha here with Vocal Bliss. Today I would like to talk about vibrato, what it is, how we can help develop it in ourselves so that we can use it as a means of expression in our singing. But before we do that, as always, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so that you won't miss any of the future videos I put out. So what is vibrato? Just we're all clear and all on the same page. Vibrato is that natural oscillation of the voice that happens when we sing, and usually when we sing a longer note, like ah, there's that vibration. It's not just a straight voice, a straight tone, but there's a little oscillation that happens there. And most singers, especially trained singers, use it. It's actually one of the hallmarks of trained voice. When you hear somebody use vibrato, immediately you go, oh, okay, this is somebody who is somewhat trained, at least, to be able to do that. Vibrato is a powerful tool of expression, and it can make a huge difference in your singing. So it's well worth understanding it and learning it. Technically speaking, vibrato is an oscillation up and down from a certain given note. So if you're singing ah, this is your note. If you add vibrato, ah, so it's ah, and if you slow it down, basically if this is your note, vibrato is moving up and down around that note. So, but it happens fast, so you still hear what the note is, but there's this movement, regular movement of the pitch, basically up and down around that specific note. In order to work well, the oscillation has to be regular and not, different speeds and different width of oscillation. Otherwise, it's just noise and it doesn't really add anything. If nothing else, it takes away from it. So one of the questions I get a lot is, can you learn vibrato, or are you born with it? So yes, vibrato can be learned, but in general, it's something that tends to emerge rather naturally from your singing, from your voice, once the voice is placed well, and therefore there's no tension here that gets in the way. And also when you're able to have good breath support, and your breath support, your breathing apparatus basically is in good connection with your voice. So these two really talk to each other and they're well integrated and they work well together. When there's this kind of balance, then it's a lot easier for vibrato to appear gradually as you sing, and then to be really reliable and beautiful and not irregular like I was saying earlier. So here are a few tips for you to develop and help your vibrato to come out and to emerge, as I said earlier, because it's really something that comes out of your singing voice. Now, I'm just assuming that you have a certain foundation for your singing technique, so that vibrato is actually a good idea to try. If you're at the very beginning, I don't recommend doing this because it just gets confusing. And it really gets in the way of what you're trying to do to develop your vocal technique. You're trying to relax and learn a lot of things. Adding vibrato when you're at the beginning, it's just going to be too much. So the first exercise, it sounds maybe a little funny, but just hold a note. And then as you hold, try to move it up and down in pitch rather slowly, enough that you can hear the oscillations and you can really almost count them. You don't have to, but it has to be slow enough just to get these muscles used to this movement. So it will sound something like this. So so it's like you're just moving up and down like that, and then you can take it a little faster. So see, there's a certain movement that you're trying to create, but it has to be regular. If it's not regular, it usually means there's some tension. So just be careful and just do this a little bit until these muscles get used to this movement. So then what you can try is, when you sing a song, And especially on long notes, when there's a long held out note, then try at the end of that long note, try to really encourage some vibrato to happen, like ah. Just at the very end. It's a little easier to do it this way because at the end the sound is a little softer, and when you're singing softer, it's actually easier for vibrato to happen than when you sing loud. It's a matter of breath and tension and actually the pressure of the air on the vocal cords. So when there's less pressure, it really helps, and it makes vibrato easier to happen. So hold ah, and you end your phrase with trying to do a little bit of it. And in the beginning, it might not sound great, maybe, and it's just fine. Just keep trying, you know, as you practice, and try to really add a little bit of vibrato at the end like that. When you're satisfied with what you're hearing and it starts to sound like, oh, this is nice, you know, it's actually happening and it sounds good, then you can add vibrato more, and you can practice even having, I don't know, if you want to be very thorough, you can even sing a scale and have vibrato on each note. Ah, you know, every note, and vibrato never stops. And so it's not like ah, no, ah. So it's a continuous movement as you go up the scale and then back. And that's basically all you need. Once you're able to do this, then vibrato happens and you will have it. I have to say that once you're used to using your vibrato, it becomes almost hard to not use it. And if you don't want to have vibrato on certain notes, which sometimes happens because it's not like every note has to be with vibrato, then you have to almost consciously rein it in and not do it. But for the most part, it will come just very naturally. You know, you're just singing, and because it's a means of expression, the more focused you are on expressing feelings, the way I've been talking so much about in my videos, the more vibrato will tend to follow what it is that you are trying to express and become really part of your singing expression. So for example, if you sing something like nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night, teach my heart. See how I'm not doing vibrato on every note, but there are some notes that just naturally tend to get more of it because it's just the way the phrase goes. It's just what you're trying to convey. So it will really become a powerful tool for expressing feelings and deep feelings too while you're singing. So as I said at the beginning, I highly recommend you try it, and be patient because it might take some time for your vibrato to come out. I say yours because vibrato is very, very personal. And sometimes we have a certain singer in mind with a certain vibrato that we like, and automatically we want to emulate it and try to do it exactly the same. But honestly, every voice has its own vibrato. It's very distinctive. And so what you want to do rather is, you know, make sure that the premises for a vibrato to happen are there. So as I said earlier, relaxed here, good placement, good breath support, and then as you practice, allow the vibrato, the natural vibrato of the voice to come out more and more and more by, you know, holding those long notes, and then at the end add some vibrato, and that will gradually expand more and more, and that will be more your vibrato, your natural vibrato that your voice is naturally producing, rather than you imposing a certain vibrato on your voice. It always tends to sound artificial when you do that, when you're kind of imposing your idea on your voice. So just let your voice do it. It will sound so much better, and it will come naturally. You won't have to think about it. It will be something that just happens spontaneously. So Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope it helped you to understand vibrato, and hopefully by trying these exercises you'll be able to develop your own. So if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. Bye bye.